Thank you for the kind introduction, Mr. Svoboda, and I want to express my appreciation to Executive Director Shoup and the Institute for Politics and Society for the opportunity to join Mr. Havlicek and so many distinguished speakers here today. I'm delighted to meet so many of you so soon after my arrival here in Prague and share U.S. views about the future of our collective defense and the benefits of investing in shared security. To give you a little background about myself, I was raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and spent the last 30 years in Texas, a state with a long historical relationship with Czechia. In college, I played American football before embarking on my business career. Much of my success in business I attribute to the lessons I learned from playing football. And no lesson was more important than my belief in winning as a team, with every member giving their all to achieve a common goal. It's been a core part of my business and personal philosophy, and that same principle applies to the U.S.-Czechia security partnership and our membership in NATO. Since 1949, NATO has deterred conflict and promoted prosperity through cooperation and shared responsibility, and Czechia's ascension in 1999 made the alliance even stronger. I want to commend the steps successive Czech governments, including the previous ANO-led government, have taken to fulfill Czechia's commitments to NATO. At the same time, President Trump has challenged our European allies to take greater ownership of our collective defense in order to keep NATO strong and relevant. As Secretary of State Rubio succinctly stated, NATO can only be as strong as its weakest link. And so I would ask all of you here to break through the noise and understand what President Trump and the United States are trying to accomplish through NATO. I believe the United States today is in many ways advocating for the ideas of a great Czech visionary and leader who, in February 1990, said in front of the U.S. Congress, "Sooner or later, Europe must recover and come into its own and decide for itself how many of whose soldiers it needs so that its own security and all the wider implications of security may radiate peace into the whole world." Of course, Václav Havel could not make that happen on his own, but by making the argument, he was putting in a good word for genuine peace and for achieving it quickly. Unfortunately, we are living in a time when we no longer have peace in Europe. The ongoing war in Ukraine and its deadly stalemate with tens and thousands of casualties every month is a stark reminder of the risks of complacency and the importance of a robust NATO alliance. At the Hague Summit, NATO leaders, including President Trump, reaffirmed our ironclad commitment to collective defense as enshrined in Article 5 of the Washington Treaty, that an attack on one is an attack on all. Allies also reaffirmed our commitment to meeting core defense requirements in accordance with Article 3, which emphasizes that all NATO allies will maintain and develop their individual and collective capacity to resist armed attack. Articles 3 and 5 are in fact two sides of the same coin, ensuring that NATO has both the means and the political will to respond. Deterrence only works when any aggressor knows that the attacking one ally means confronting the combined political, economic, and military power of all allies, and that combined power is sufficient. The Hague Summit Declaration, which the United States and Czechia both signed, is clear on the path to meeting our collective defense, allocating 3.5% of GDP to core defense capabilities and an additional 1.5% to defense-related sectors by 2035. These investments will modernize forces, enhance readiness, and strengthen our defense industrial bases. Meeting Hague Summit commitments is achievable and essential. And after crossing the 2% of GDP spending threshold this past year, Czechia is well on its way with a series of strategic modernization investments. America has and will continue to be a partner in these modernizations through programs like the Bell H-1 helicopters, sophisticated communications equipment, and ammunition production. We are cooperating in ways that make both of our people more safe and secure. These modernization efforts are a continuation of our long-standing partnership. Americans cannot and will not forget that over the last 3 decades, Czechs have served shoulder to shoulder with us, from Afghanistan to Iraq to the Sinai and many places in between. And through the U.S. National Guard State Partnership Program between the Czech Armed Forces and the National Guards of Texas and Nebraska, our soldiers are more interoperable than ever. And so let me turn to the next foundational element of our cooperation, an agreement that the United States views with great pride and one to which we are immutably committed, the F-35. Recent events have shown the necessity of the F-35 to both individual and collective defense. When Russian drones violated Polish airspace, it was an F-35 that helped identify, track, and shoot down the threat, in tandem with land-based defenses and other aircraft. Czechia's procurement of this aircraft is not simply about a supersonic fighter jet. It's a 5th-generation upgradable investment in the future of Czech defense and a cornerstone of NATO deterrence. The F-35 integrates advanced systems across air and land and is fully interoperable with NATO allies. As the Czech Ministry of Defense determined when signing the LOA, no other program meets the necessary parameters to fulfill NATO capability requirements. As someone who has spent years in investment management, I understand the value of looking at long-term returns. Defense investments like the F-35 offer enduring benefits, fostering innovation, supporting local industry, and ensuring the safety of our citizens. Czech industrial cooperation agreements, 11 with Lockheed Martin and 3 with Pratt & Whitney, represent an impressive domestic investment of 15.3 billion Czech crowns. Yet the true value for Czech companies and universities involved goes well beyond that figure. These partnerships will serve as a foundation for future collaboration in research and development, component manufacturing, and license production. By participating in the F-35 program and integrating into its global value chain, Czechia joins a core group of allies fully integrated with U.S. systems. This will make Czechia capable of responding to the most advanced air defense threats as identified in the most recent draft government program. As a member of the F-35 club, Czechia will stand shoulder to shoulder with the United States, showcase the technical elements of its defense industry, and forge commercial links that will reinforce both our economic growth and our shared security for decades to come. This is something we know in my country. U.S. defense spending has driven technological advances and job creation in every region of the country. Defense spending, when done strategically, is an economic engine as well as a security necessity, and it takes hard work and sacrifice for these efforts to flower. In conclusion, our shared goal is clear: build a stronger, more resilient NATO grounded in the principles of both Articles 3 and 5, creating the bedrock for the collective security of us all. Like any successful team, every member must train, invest, and stay ready together. And with U.S. partnership and continued commitment, Czechia is a key member of the team. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.